You are watching UK Crownix, where we cut through the PR smoke to bring you the clear and honest truth. Urgent news. Prince Harry has now officially gone to Ukraine, and the hidden reason he left Meghan Markle in Montecito has finally come out. While the Sussexes say it is for diplomacy, the signs point to a much darker reason. Stay right here. The real story begins right now. Prince Harry is leaving Montecito, leaving Meghan Markle and their 2 children behind so he can fly into a real war zone. But the real shock is not happening in Ukraine. It is happening inside Buckingham Palace, as King Charles gets ready for his final move to stop the Sussex money-making plans forever. While the world was meant to be celebrating Prince Louis's 6th birthday, Harry was far away, giving a political speech in Kyiv that many experts say was not even written by him, but by an artificial intelligence program. Is this a desperate try to stay important? Or is Harry finally searching for a way out of his life in California? Welcome back. Today, we are revealing one of the most shocking turns in the royal drama so far. We have received reports that say Harry's sudden trip to Ukraine was a planned move to take attention away from young Prince Louis. This continues a strong pattern of jealousy toward William and Catherine. But this time, things have gone too far. Buckingham Palace is not staying quiet anymore. We are looking into the secret money plan being led by King Charles himself. This plan is made to cut off the support to the Sussex business empire. From Meghan's struggling lifestyle brand and her strong push to sell jam and candles, to Harry's strange role in world politics, pressure is building fast. In this video, we will explain the proof of the AI-made speech, the true reason Harry left his family during a royal birthday, and the single legal paper King Charles is said to be preparing that could take everything from them. Stay with us, because what we found at the 5-minute point of this investigation will change how you see the Duke of Sussex forever. The royal power game has now turned into a fight to survive, and Harry may have just used his last chance. Let us go into the details of this escape that has left the world and the royal family in total shock. For many months, the sunny hills of Montecito have acted like a beautiful cage for the Duke of Sussex. But while cameras show smiles and carefully planned public moments behind the gates of their $14 million home, a hard truth is starting to appear. People close to the couple say the feeling inside has become heavy and hard to breathe. Harry, a man who once lived with the strong order of the military and the royal family, now finds himself in a world of lifestyle branding, jars of jam, and Hollywood PR systems, a world he was never made for. But the real pressure is not only emotional, it is also about money. We can now share that King Charles has started what insiders call a planned separation. For many years, the royal family's money worked like a hidden safety net. But now that net has been cut open. By slowly separating Harry and Meghan from royal trust funds and stopping the quiet support that once came through the Duchy of Cornwall, the King is sending a very clear message. The Bank of Dad is now fully closed. This money pressure has come at the worst time, with a big Netflix deal reaching its final stage and Meghan's new lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, struggling to move forward after giving away 50 jars of jam to famous people. The Sussexes are now facing costs of millions of dollars every year just to keep their security and way of life. This is why Harry's sudden trip to Ukraine says so much. It was not only a diplomatic visit. It was a way out. Picture the tension. While Meghan is busy launching candles and trying to build her image again as a lifestyle business leader, Harry is searching for a path back into the world spotlight as a serious political voice. The difference is clear and sharp. One is selling a dream of rich California life, while the other is standing in a war zone, trying hard to win back the respect he lost when he stepped down as a working royal. Experts in the industry say Harry's solo trip to Kyiv shows a big change in their shared public image. For years, they acted as one team, the Sussex pair against the world. Now we can clearly see a split. Harry is leaving the home problems of Montecito behind to find a purpose that Meghan cannot give him. But as he steps onto that stage in Ukraine, he is not just running away from his home. He is walking straight into a trap that he created himself. Because while he is trying to stay important in other countries, King Charles is making sure that back in London, the legal and money walls are becoming stronger. The King understands that without the royal name, the Sussex business system will slowly run out of power. By cutting off the flow of money, Charles is pushing Harry into a tight corner where he has to decide. He must either keep going with this struggling plan in the United States or face the truth that his life as a global influencer is a costly dream that is quickly falling apart. Harry did not just go to Ukraine to help people. He went there because, for the first time in his life, he has no other place left where he still feels like a prince. As Prince Harry stood in front of the Kyiv Security Forum, his voice carried the heavy feeling of world politics. But as his words filled the room, people far away across the Atlantic began to feel unsure. Royal followers and language experts started to notice something strange. The rhythm, the structure, and the slightly robotic way he used comparisons did not sound like the Harry people once knew. It did not even sound like the Harry from his ghostwritten book, Spare. It sounded like something completely different. It sounded like a machine. The rumors quickly started to grow. Was this speech, full of big words and political style, actually created by an artificial intelligence program? Think about how strange this is for a moment. Here is a man who has spent the last 4 years talking about his truth, his voice, and how important it is to be real. Yet, when the world gave him a chance to say something meaningful to a country in war, critics say he could not even speak in his own words. Instead, it looks like he may have handed his voice over to a computer system. Experts said the speech was filled with business-style language and perfectly shaped political lines that felt empty inside. There was no personal feeling, no deep emotion, only a set of careful talking points that seemed made to please a worldwide audience. If this is true, it shows a very serious new low point for the Sussex image. It suggests that Harry is no longer a man with his own message, but more like an empty shell being controlled by a public relations system that has run out of real human ideas. But why would he turn to artificial intelligence? The answer leads us back to Montecito. When you are cut off from the history of a 1,000-year-old system and separated from the advisors who once helped shape your voice, you are left alone in an empty space. In that empty space in California, Harry has become a product, and products are created in factories. By using AI to build his political image, Harry is trying to appear like a serious leader while not doing the deep thinking that such a role needs. This is not only about a weak speech. It is about the loss of the real Harry. Every time he uses a digital tool to copy a personality, he moves further away from the trust of the public. In the United States, where the idea that the Sussexes are grifters is already spreading strongly, this AI story becomes the clearest sign yet of a fading star. People are now asking, if the words are not his and the mission is only for pictures, then what exactly is Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, really telling us? And now look at the timing. This so-called powerful digital speech was shared at the exact moment when the world was looking toward London to celebrate Prince Louis's birthday. It was not just a speech. It was meant to pull attention away, but the plan failed. Instead of looking like a hero on the world stage, Harry looked like a man reading lines written by a machine, trying to compete with the real, bright happiness of a 6-year-old boy playing on a beach in Cornwall. The difference could not be more harmful. On one side, there is the royal family, traditional, human, and focused on celebrating new life. On the other side, there is Harry, modern, artificial, and standing in a war zone to gain public attention. This AI situation reveals the Sussex plan for what it truly is, a costly and artificial attempt to appear important. And as we will see in the next part, this strong need to take attention away from the family he left behind is starting to look less like a smart plan and more like an unhealthy focus that is getting out of control. In the world of the royal family, timing is never random. It is used very carefully like a precise tool. And for Prince Harry, timing has now become a planned weapon used to deal with old problems. As the United Kingdom and royal fans all around the world were getting ready to celebrate the 6th birthday of Prince Louis, the youngest and most lively son of William and Catherine, Harry chose that exact moment to appear again on the world stage from the center of Ukraine. To a normal viewer, this may look like simple chance, but to people who understand the hidden ways of royal public relations, this looked like a clear sign of conflict. By deciding to speak at the Kyiv Security Forum on the same day the world was focused on a young prince's special moment, Harry was not just giving a speech. He was trying to take control of the news. He was trying to push down the images of a happy and growing young boy under heavy political news and words possibly created by artificial intelligence. This is what experts call overshadowing. And Harry has made it into something he does again and again. Think back to the patterns we have noticed over the past few years. Every time Catherine shares a photo, every time William gives an important speech, or every time a royal birthday happens, the Sussexes suddenly have some breaking news. It could be a new product preview or a solo visit to a dangerous place. It is a constant effort to stay in the spotlight, no matter who they have to step over to get there, even if that person is their own nephew. The harshness of this plan is hard to miss. Prince Louis is only 6 years old. He is a child who stands for the future and happiness of the monarchy. By making the media choose between a birthday party and a prince standing in a war zone, Harry is creating a story of conflict. He is almost saying, do not look at the future king's family. Look at me, the prince who was pushed away. It is a move that seems to come from deep jealousy that has no clear end. But let us look more closely at why this is happening. As we talked about before, King Charles is making money support tighter. Harry is starting to feel trapped. When someone who once had power feels like they are losing it, they often react strongly toward the things that remind them of what they lost. Louis represents safety, love, and strong support from the royal system that Harry chose to leave. Every smile from Louis reminds Harry of the life he gave up for a large home in Montecito that he may now struggle to afford. The American public, who once felt sorry for the spare prince who wanted freedom, is now starting to see a different picture. They see a man in his late 30s trying to take attention away from a 6-year-old child. In the United States, where family values and fairness are very important, this looks weak. It looks desperate. It makes people wonder, is Harry so filled with anger toward William and Catherine that he would harm important childhood moments of their children? And this is where the birthday conflict turns against him. While Harry stands in Ukraine looking stiff and reading from a script that may have been written by a machine, the palace shared a warm and natural video of Louis on a beach. It felt real, it felt human, and it showed true happiness. It reminded everyone that the royal family at its best is about family and moving forward together. Harry, in comparison, looked like a man lost in a situation he created himself, far from reality and driven by a public relations system that cares more about attention than about truth. This brings us to a troubling question that is now spreading quickly on social media. Is this planned overshadowing the work of a smart PR team led by Meghan Markle? Or is Harry so personally upset that he cannot bear to see his brother's family happy even for one single day? I want to know what you think in the comments. Do you believe Harry is truly jealous of a 6-year-old child, or is this just another big mistake repeated by his communication team? Because as we move into the next part of this investigation, we will look at what Meghan was doing while Harry was away. While he was acting like a world leader in Ukraine, she was in California starting a brand that many people are calling the biggest royal sellout. And the link between his trip and her new business move is more planned than it seems. While Prince Harry was far away, surrounded by soldiers and high-level officials in Ukraine, the scene back in Montecito looked completely different and even strange. While the husband acts like a global leader, the wife is busy sending jars of strawberry jam and expensive candles to smaller celebrities. This is the strange and almost unreal situation of the Sussex household in 2024, a home split between a desperate search for political importance and a rushed effort to sell lifestyle products. Welcome to the American Riviera Orchard period, a brand that royal insiders and branding experts are calling the biggest royal money-making scheme. Let us look at how this appears to the public. Because in the world of public relations, appearance is everything. You have Harry standing in a war zone speaking about the future of world security, while Meghan is back in California sharing pretty photos of napkins and jars of jam numbered from 1 to 50. The gap between these two images is so large that it almost feels funny. It is like they are acting in two completely different movies, but both movies are not doing well. But why jam, and why at this moment? The answer brings us back to the quiet force working behind the scenes, King Charles III. We need to understand that the financial isolation plan we talked about earlier has created a lack of money in the Sussex bank accounts. The millions of dollars needed to keep their security team, private jets, and large home are no longer being supported by the British public or the royal system. For the first time in his life, Harry is learning that freedom comes with a very high cost every month. And this is where the desperation behind the money-making plan begins to show. Meghan's new brand is not just something she enjoys doing. It is a way to survive. But it is a way that feels very empty. For many years, they said they left the royal family to have privacy and to escape turning their lives into business. Yet now, they are using their royal titles given by the same system they criticized, to sell candles that may cost more than a week's groceries for an average American family. People in the United States are starting to notice the truth, and it is not coming from a luxury candle. Critics are pointing out the clear contradiction of keeping the Duke and Duchess titles while acting like high-level social media influencers. In the American market, being real is the key to success. But there is nothing real about starting a luxury home brand while your husband is using a war-torn country as the background for his latest public image effort. It feels planned. It feels disorganized. And most importantly, it feels low in value. Even worse is the reported failure of the products. There are rumors that the first launch of American Riviera Orchard did not get strong interest from big stores. When you remove the royal titles, what do you really have left? Just expensive jam. In a time when many people are struggling with money, the Sussexes seem to believe that people will pay high prices for a product just because it is linked to a duchess who no longer has a royal role. This leads us to the candle issue. Reports suggest that Meghan's new line of candles was meant to bring the feeling of royalty, but what people are really noticing is the feeling of a brand that is losing strength. The money-making plan is becoming too clear. When you have to send jars of jam to influencers just to get a mention on Instagram, you are no longer acting like a royal. You are acting like a struggling business owner using a borrowed crown as a way to sell products. The difference between Harry's trip to Ukraine and Meghan's jam launch shows the main problem in their life after leaving the royal family. They do not have one clear identity. They are trying to be everything at once: activists, royals, celebrities, politicians, and business sellers. But by trying to be everything, they are slowly becoming nothing. And as King Charles keeps making the financial pressure stronger, this situation will only become louder and more desperate. Harry may think he is escaping the problems of Montecito by going to Ukraine, but he is still carrying the burden of Meghan's struggling business on his shoulders. Every time he talks about duty and sacrifice in other countries, the world looks back at the jars of jam and expensive candles at home and understands that the Sussexes are not trying to save the world. They are simply trying to protect their own way of living. And as we will see in the next part, the palace is getting ready to make sure that their royal marketing plan comes to a very legal and very permanent end. While Prince Harry is busy trying to stay important in Eastern Europe, and Meghan is counting jars of jam in California, a much quieter and more serious action is taking place inside the private offices of Buckingham Palace. King Charles III is known as a man with great patience, but even a king has a limit. We can now say that the monarch has moved past simple disappointment. He has now entered the stage of action. This is the story of the final move. A legal and constitutional step designed to protect the monarchy by stopping the Sussex problem once and for all. For many years, people have asked why the king does not just take away their titles. The answer is not simple, as it involves laws passed by Parliament and traditions that go back hundreds of years. But Charles is a careful planner. He understands that removing the Duke and Duchess titles through Parliament would start a messy public fight that Harry and Meghan could use for another Netflix show. Instead, the king is said to be using a much smarter tool: financial and business pressure. The palace legal team is now working on a set of very strong documents that would change how royal titles can be used outside the United Kingdom. This is not just advice. It is a full legal barrier. The goal is to separate the person from the title under global trademark laws. If these steps are fully put in place, Meghan's plan to sell lifestyle products using a brand that depends heavily on her royal link could face a sudden and serious legal stop. The message from London is clear. You can be Harry and Meghan, private people living in Montecito, but you cannot be Harry and Meghan, a business brand of the Crown. But this separation goes further than just trademarks. Our sources say that King Charles has officially locked the private trust funds that Harry once could use in times of need. By placing this money into long-term protected systems, the king has effectively blocked Harry's access to his royal inheritance for the near future. Imagine the surprise in California. Harry traveled to Ukraine thinking he was an important global figure, only to find out that back home his father was shutting down the support that once protected his future. This is the financial pressure we have been discussing. The king knows that the Sussex lifestyle is built on the idea of royal power and the reality of royal money. By removing both, he is forcing the couple into a life they have never truly lived before: real independence. And as we have already seen with the weak response to their recent projects, real independence is a very frightening situation for them. In addition, the king's final move includes a planned silence that is even more powerful than any public speech. By choosing not to meet Harry during his short visits to the United Kingdom and leaving him out of family events like Prince Louis's birthday, Charles is showing that Harry is no longer part of the royal system. It is as if the thousand-year-old institution is ignoring him completely. In the world of high-level politics, being ignored is the greatest loss. It makes Harry's speeches in Ukraine lose meaning, because people understand that he no longer speaks with the support of the king. The most serious part of this plan is that it is meant to last. This is not a short punishment for a son who made mistakes. This is a careful breakdown of a brand that went off track. King Charles is making sure that when history is written, this time will not be remembered as a second royal court in California, but as a failed attempt at celebrity branding. The king is playing a long and careful game, and he has now placed his key pieces in a position to win. But there is one last part of this situation, a document that is said to be on the king's desk right now. It is a letter that would formally ask Harry and Meghan to stop using their titles in any business or professional way. If they do not agree, the king is ready to support a private bill in Parliament that would make removing their titles quick and simple. Harry may have left his family to go to a war zone, but he did not realize that the real battle was being won by his father with the simple use of a pen. But there is one detail in these legal papers that the Sussexes did not expect. A rule that affects the future titles of their children. And what the king has decided about Archie and Lilibet may be the most surprising move of all. The final part of King Charles's legal plan may be the hardest for Harry to accept. Inside the draft papers now being shared at the highest levels of the palace, there is a clear rule about the titles of Archie and Lilibet. While Charles cares for his grandchildren, this final move makes sure their titles stay only symbolic. They will be protected as family members, but they will never be allowed to support the Sussex business system in any way. The king is building a strong wall around the next generation, making sure the money-making plan ends with Harry and Meghan. As we look at the damage from this latest public relations problem, from the speeches in Ukraine that may have been created by artificial intelligence to the desperate selling of strawberry jam, one thing is clear. The American dream that Harry and Meghan showed to the world is now finished. They wanted to be powerful global figures, but instead they have become a warning story of what happens when you leave 1,000 years of history for a small number of social media followers and a house that is losing its value. Harry may keep traveling to war zones, and Meghan may continue to release new products. But without the support of the monarchy behind them, they are simply two famous people among many, trying to stay above water as their money slowly runs out. The king did not need to speak loudly to be heard. He only needed to stop giving them the stage. Now the world is watching to see what Harry will do next. Will he understand that the walls of Montecito are closing in, or will he keep going down this path of competing with his own family? But most importantly, what do you think? Is King Charles acting as a strong leader by cutting off the Sussexes, or is he being a distant father? And who do you think is really in control in California? Is it Meghan's business plans or Harry's personal feelings? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this deep look helpful, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to the channel for more clear royal analysis. We are following this story as it continues, and you will not want to miss our next update on the King's final move. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.